What's the effort?
What the F?
Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And a very big special welcome to Andrew. Andrew, thank you for being here. Bradley.
Close.
Oh my God.
Yes.
I'm pulling up blank. I just had a heart attack right now.
That's my partner, so it's okay.
Let's rewind. I am so sorry about that. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Excited to be here.
Good. I'm very excited to have you, Bradley. And I don't know why I said Andrew. I know why I said Andrew, because your partner, Andrew. It's his fault.
Yes, blame Andrew.
Yes, I'm going to blame Andrew. You better believe it. Anyways, thank you very, very much for coming on, because we're talking about we're going to discuss a topic I haven't talked about before, and that is leaving your W-2. You know, going into this full time. Oh, Andrew is here, the little rascal. Well, thank you for being here, Andrew. We appreciate you, even if you mixed me up. But going from being a part-time person where you have, hi, Tom, where you have some money coming in the door. Hello, KJ. But the pressure is not going to be as high. I mean, the pressure is there for having the time, you know, so that's one of the problems with W-2s, is that they take away our time. But the reassurance that they give us is the money. So that is a topic that is not easy, and a topic that I know a lot of people talk about. When are they going to do it? How are they going to do it? Will they do it? So we're going to talk about that in a couple of minutes. But before we do, I would like to introduce the group to you, make sure that everyone does know you if they haven't met Bradley. This is Bradley Lewis. Do you go by Brad or Bradley?
In sub 2, I just tell everybody I'm Brad. So just because it's easier. But I can go by either one. It's okay.
Okay, that's interesting. So I guess that way you'd know who they're from, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So when you were going through school, were you Brad or Bradley?
Oh, I always went back and forth, but I started switching to Brad just because it was a lot easier to roll it off the tongue.
True. Interesting. And where were you raised? Talk to us about your early years. How many kids in your family? Where'd you grow up? You know, were you a sweet little kid or were you a stinker? You know, tell us about yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah. So originally I'm from California. That's where I was born. And SoCal, down by the LAX, right by the beach.
Nice.
Then my family ended up moving to Las Vegas. And so I actually have lived most of my life in Las Vegas. And I've always been around real estate. So my parents, they started investing in real estate. They fixed a handful of homes out there. They have a whole bunch of rentals, and so does my older sister. So I have an older sister, older brother, and a younger sister.
Older sister, older brother. Oh, so you're the third?
I am, yes.
2 girls and 2 boys.
Yes.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Well, talk a little bit about your parents. What were they doing this full time? Were they doing it part time? How many properties do they have? How much are they worth? How much are you going to inherit? How much will I get? You know, just little details.
Yeah. So actually, both my parents worked full-time jobs.
Okay.
And so that's where I thought I could do the same, was working a job and do real estate. So they did a lot of the real estate on the sides, outside of work, on the weekends. So they're growing up. I'll tell you, I wanted nothing to do with real estate. My parents would always say, "Hey, we're going to go to this house. It smells like animals have been living in there. It smells like smoke." And they would give me a phone and go sit in the corner, and they would fix it up themselves. My dad was really handy. My mom loved painting. So they would just basically flip the house on their own. And I would just sit there wondering, why are we doing this?
So did they always want to sell? Is that what they were looking to do? Hi, Monica.
So they would use that to help make more money to then buy rentals. So
Okay.
my family, they're more on the, I like to call it the Dave Ramsey approach, which is pay everything all outright. And so the best way to do that is to fix properties. And so that's what they did a lot of. And my sister kind of followed the same trajectory.
No, she was the oldest. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah. So she's a real estate agent out in Las Vegas. She still is top performer out there. And
Is she in
they
stuff too?
she is not. She's getting used to creative financing thanks to me now that I am doing more creative financing. So
That's interesting that she's a top agent and she hasn't, you know, um, stuck her head in over your shoulder to see what you're looking at with sub two. Um, is she also buying and renting? Buying and holding, that sort of thing.
she does, yeah. She buys rentals out there, and that's as I got older and as I got into college, I started really understanding more about investing, and I started putting the pieces together on what my parents were doing and what my sister was doing, and realizing, okay, maybe I won't hate real estate as much now that I understand the numbers.
What about your brother? Did he follow suit? Because he's older than you, right?
He is, yeah. He is actually a professional golf instructor out in DFW area. So he actually pursued business entrepreneurship instead of real estate.
Nice, very nice. And is your younger sister living in Vegas also?
She's in Reno, Nevada. So that's why I have that one picture I sent you up in Lake Tahoe. We went and visited. My wife and I went and visited her up there. She's not in real estate yet. I've actually been trying to introduce her to being a transaction coordinator with Molly. So she's kind of getting the bug for that. So hopefully,
Very interesting. Is she working or is she in school? What's because I was surprised that you're young. I mean, not that you look old, but
I get it a lot. People
I
think
just
I'm a
have
lot
bad
older.
glasses.
No, you're fine. People think I'm a lot older than I am. No, she's actually a nurse up there, and she's like me, realizing that the corporate world doesn't really care as much for us. And so she's seeing the writing on that. And after my circumstance, she's like, I need to have a backup option just in case sometime in the future my normal job gets taken away. So that's why I told her about being a TC, because she's extremely organized and she would be really good at that.
Well, that sounds great. That sounds great. Now, I do want to take a look just for a second at a few things I see, if I can, just to get a little bit more depth before we start getting into what you were doing. Now, this is a cute young man, but do tell me a little bit about this. How old were you? What were you doing? And were you a chick magnet or were you just pretending?
This is probably why people think I'm older than I am, because this is me at about 9 or 10 years old trying to dress like I'm way older than I am. But this is for Halloween. And I guess I just watched the movie Grease, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna dress like that for Halloween this year. And so I borrowed, I don't know. Maybe that's my dad's jacket. I can't even remember, but I put it all on and I was like, I'm Mr. Cool Guy.
Yeah.
So, but I was more introverted back then. I was a lot quieter. So even though it looks like I got all that personality with that picture, I'm still a shy, quiet guy.
Oh, that's funny. All right. And this one, let me see if it actually showed up. It did not yet. Not successful in doing the share that I wanted to. Nope, I am not. My apologies on that, guys. Just goes to show sometimes things work and other times they don't.
Gotta
But
love technology.
yep, just a little bit. And here we go. Tell us about this one.
Yeah, so that's my beautiful wife right there. We've been together for almost 4 years now, or been married for 4 years. Actually, been together for about 7 years. We met back in college when I actually attended school out in Texas. But that is Lake Tahoe at its finest. That place is beautiful. If you've never been to Lake Tahoe, you definitely need to put that on your list to get out there.
First time I ever went to Lake Tahoe, it was in, I think, June. And we sure as heck weren't expecting what happened, because we started at the bottom and went to the top. And, like Lake Tahoe's quite high up. We pitched our tent in the morning, it was snow. We're like, what the hell? We were completely thrown off. We were like, what's happening? So, but it is absolutely gorgeous. I have to agree with that. Very, very nice area.
Definitely go in the summer.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Anyhow, all right. So, talk to me a little bit about what happened when you graduated from school, and where are you living now? Where are you living right this time?
Yeah, so I'm in Houston, Texas, or I'm north of Houston.
Why
And
there? Because your family isn't really there. So, what took you there?
my wife. So my wife's family, they all live northern Houston, and so that's what brought us out here is to be closer to her family. Trying
Got
to
it.
get my family to move out here to Texas, but they enjoy the Vegas environment. So
I got it. I got it. So you're living in North Houston. Tell me about the jobs that you started. How many jobs did you have you had since you graduated? Just the one?
so I'm a little unique, and Andrew likes to make fun of me for this. So I was also on the Dave Ramsey grind when I got out of college, and I wanted to pay off all my debt.
Hmm.
And so my first year out of college, I took on 4 jobs to do everything I could to pay all my debt off. And I was able to pay it all off within 1 year. I wanted to get into investing, not with all this bad debt. So I took on the extra work. And like I said, I worked 4 jobs.
I
Now,
love that.
now they weren't all related to my skill set. And this is where Andrew likes to make fun of me because I've done Uber Eats. I was a janitor at a gym. I sold things on eBay. I did anything I could to just try to make more money to pay off that debt. And as soon as I paid the debt off, I was like, okay, I don't need to do all those things anymore. And that's kind of the time frame when I got into real estate and got that bug, which was okay, I have no debt. Now what can I do? And so, but my job that I had, my main skill, I've been doing it for 4 years. So I got the job out of college, and I've been working with them for actually, I hit my 4 year mark about a month ago.
And tell us about, well, I'm supposed to ask about your 1 year grind. Was that the 1 year grind?
Yes. Yep. That was everybody. Jade is on our team, and she got to hear my story with that. But yeah, that's the 1 year of just doing everything I can.
I can understand that. I can understand that because if you see debt as a real negative thing, you don't like it weighing on you. And I think I commend you actually for being able to do that when you are as young as you are, because a lot of times, um, this will be interesting. A lot of times, people don't feel that way when they're young. And what about Rover?
So for people who don't know, Rover is a dog sitting site. So when
Oh,
people go out of town for vacation, they can look up people locally, and you can watch their dog at your house. And so at my house up in Dallas, my wife and I did Rover. And so he laughs because at one time we watched about 5 dogs at a time, and I would do Rover while working my normal job because I worked remote. So I was like, well, I can work remote and I can watch dogs, and it's a win-win because we don't have any pets. So good way to make extra money.
yes, and it's fun to have them around too, since you don't have to
Yeah.
keep them forever. you know?
Exactly.
Apparently we have some Rover fans. Yeah, I think that's awesome. I hadn't heard of it, but I don't have a dog. I just have a cat. Do they do cats too?
They
No.
do. They do. Yep. I didn't really get a whole lot of cat requests though, mostly dogs.
That's funny. That's funny. All right. So talk to us about the job you've had for 4 years. What did it involve? What kind of skill sets? It wasn't dog, wasn't selling online, it wasn't janitorial. What was it?
Yeah, so my job, I was a software engineer, and I've worked on all sorts of projects.
Like?
A lot. So I have to. I can only talk so much about some of the projects just because of the type of work I did. But some of the things we would work on is like web applications, so websites, and then the cool thing that we got to work on is simulators. So we got to work on like flight simulators, like airplane stuff. So, but I wrote code all day, which has allowed me to be able to be at home and work remotely. It was a fun job. I enjoyed it in the beginning, but it started becoming draining and draining as the years go by because, as you could imagine, when you're staring at millions of lines of code, your eyes start to just
Yep.
yeah. So just
Yep.
staring at my screen, I started realizing, okay, I need something else. I need something more, and so real estate happened to be on that list.
So you started it when you were already doing software engineering. It must have paid reasonably well.
It did,
So were
yes.
you planning to buy with cash, or had you already found these crazy people called Sub 2?
No, I ran into sub 2 a year ago. So prior to that, I thought, well, if I'm following my parents' path, I got to save all my money to buy a rental. Then I read Rich Dad Poor Dad and I realized, okay, I need to leverage debt more. And that's when I was like, how can I utilize my loan since I have a W-2 job? And I started really looking more into that.
Good
Uh,
for you.
I tried to get my wife into the whole model of move every year and buy another house. It didn't quite work in the beginning because she didn't want to move. Because I looked at that as a way to accumulate more
Mhm.
real estate was if I just moved because of the loan requirements.
Right.
And then that's when I ran into the crazy world of sub 2 and I realized, wow, there's so much more I can do. There's so much more I can leverage my money that I stopped putting such a high emphasis on my loans and actually putting more into learning creative financing.
Okay. So how
Now,
many property did you manage to get any properties before you came into Sub 2?
I did, yes. So I turned my primary up in Dallas into a rental.
Mhm.
And when we moved down here, I bought a house that we lived in as a primary, but I knew it was going to be a rental in a
Mhm.
year.
Okay.
Somehow, after my wife started seeing the cash flow from the first house, she's like, I'm okay if we move every year if cash flow comes in like that. So I talked her into that. So
Good.
I had two properties, just one rental and then my primary, and then I joined sub 2.
All
And
right.
that's where my life kind of just turned all around in a bunch of amazing ways.
It is a bit crazy. When did you join?
I joined February 2023. So,
Oh,
and
okay.
towards the end of February. So I actually just recently hit my 1 year mark.
Congratulations. How many people were there when you joined? Because I think that's the other mark people use. They use the date and then they go, and how many of us were there then?
Yeah. So I joined, I think around 8,000.
At 8,000. Oh, that's so
I think we're up to what, 13 or
yeah,
11
we're up
million
to
people?
13. So that's a huge increase.
Yes.
Yeah. So when you first came in, I imagine just like everybody else, you felt like you were drinking out of a water hose, or I should say a fire hose. And you did what our leader does, act like a big fat squirrel. Bing, bing, bing. I know that part. I'm settling down a little bit from that now. Did you go through those phases?
So, to be honest, I did for about 1 or 2 weeks.
What? How'd you
And
do it so fast?
and the reason why is because I was very fortunate enough to meet Andrew
Oh,
Ariaga out here in Houston. He had already been in sub two for about 4 or 5 months prior to when I joined.
mhm.
And I met him at Power Hour and down here in Houston. And
With, Jeff Smith.
with Jeff Smith and the Montoyas.
Oh, and that's why Logan's here.
Yep. And
Hi,
so
Logan.
Andrew sat me down and he said, if you want to be successful, you need to just pick one thing and get after it for 90 days. He's like, close all the Zooms out. He said, it's going to be hard. And I was like, no, I can't. I want to watch all of them. So for the first like 2 weeks, I was in every single Zoom. And then after that time, I was like, you know what? I need to listen to Andrew because Andrew had already gained a lot of success in sub two. He already had a bunch of properties that he owns. He was already crushing it. And I was like, you know what? He's who I want to follow.
Nice.
And so that's why I say I'm really fortunate in that I didn't get all squirrely because he put me on one path and he said, this is all I want you to do. And I believed it. And I believed in him and I trusted him. And it's funny because I actually started cold calling for him before we established more of our business relationship. And as most people know, I mean, putting a introverted software engineer in a cold calling position doesn't quite go over as well, but I did it for 3 months because I was committed to sticking to that one path.
Wow. It's interesting that that Andrew took you under his wing like that, because we're always open to everyone. But it sounds like he kind of picked you up and said, "Hey, come here." And that if he started a relationship with you and you saw his success, it would be easier to say, okay, I'm going to follow somebody else's footsteps because he really hadn't been in that much longer. Like if he had said he was in 2 years or something, I would understand. But he was time wise, he was, months, but he must have accomplished a fair amount in that time.
So his real estate journey is what really gravitated my attention towards him. He already had like I think about 8 to 10 rental properties at the time
Oh,
that he
nice.
that he had acquired in like 2 years. And when I heard that, I was like, okay, he knows a lot about real estate. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna just hang out with him. He's where I want to be. And so whatever he needs me to do, I'm gonna just volunteer my time. And he didn't buy in all into me yet. He just said, hey, I have a list of leads. Can you call them? And I said, absolutely. I'll do it for free because I need to learn this whole crazy world of creative finance. So if that's what it takes, that's what I'm going to do. And throughout that time of making calls, I would make adjustments to his leads. I would fix the way he would filter his data and all these little things back with my skill set.
You couldn't resist, could
I
you?
could not resist. So every like 2 weeks, I'd be like, "Hey, Andrew, I made an adjustment." He'd be like, "Wow, that looks way better." And over the course of 3 months, he started realizing, okay, you're super consistent because I was very consistent. I would call 6 days a week after I got off my job.
Nice.
And that's what I did. And he realized he saw the consistency and the action I took, but then at the same time realized he has a different skill that I'm starting to pick up on. And so that's kind of how our relationship evolved was where I
And
was able to maximize that.
when you worked those 6 days each week after week volunteering, did you get any deals?
So about I would say about a month and a half in, I got my first property that I took to Andrew, and he ended up closing it because he knows how to do a creative finance deal. And I don't know how to do any of that. I just brought it to him. He closed it. And then about a month and a half, because we had some delays in title, we actually ended up purchasing that property together.
Nice.
So it was a sub 2 deal. And so 3 months into sub 2, I got I would say my first deal, and it was something I purchased. Now, mind you, when I joined sub 2, I was joining for the buying side, not for the wholesaling side. So I didn't really care about the wholesaling. I just wanted to buy more. So I was more focused on buying that first sub 2 deal. And that's when we got it. And because of his skills, it was able to happen within that 3 months.
Very nice. Very nice indeed. Was it a rental? Is it a rental now?
It is, yeah. It's a good deal. It's 2.65% interest rate out in Houston. We actually we had it up on Airbnb.
Andrew is correcting you.
2.75. Sorry.
Sorry, Andrew. He was thinking Canadian dollars. That's all.
Yeah. Still amazing.
Totally, totally.
We ended up turning it into a Airbnb. We
Mhm.
did that for about 5 months, and then the guest that stayed was like, "Hey, can I rent the place out for 2 years?" So we're like, "Yep, sure." It'll save us the headache. So it's now a long-term rental.
Nice. Congrats. Really, really good. Okay, so now you've proven yourself to Andrew. You guys have a property together. And you're doing this thing that you weren't crazy about. It doesn't come naturally to you to cold call as an integrator. What happened next, and how did you get to where your relationship is now? Tell us a little bit about that development. And I know that KJ and Joseph are important, so bring us along a little bit.
Yep.
And then we're going to talk about the future.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Andrew finally called me up and he said, "Hey, you're done making phone calls. It's not because you're bad at it. It's because your skills are more powerful somewhere else." And so I took on more of the back end, building out our systems in our wholesale business and doing more of our team management. So we brought a couple people on our team and I would manage them. And I did a lot of our lead generation.
So let's talk about that a little bit. Let's break it down. What were you guys using as a software?
So I believe in simplicity.
Mhm.
So I use Google Sheets,
Hmm.
and we would get data from the MLS, pull all on market, go direct to agent, and that was it. And
So
then
you don't have
Discord for
like,
communication.
what about CRM? What have you got for your CRM?
We didn't use a CRM for a while. We
What did
just
you use? How did you
we,
keep them?
we kept everything in a Google Sheet. The way I built out our Google Sheets was actually very efficient for our outreachers that we still use to this day.
Hmm.
We do have CRMs now, but for a while I believed in simplicity because it was, if you're not making the calls, it doesn't matter how fancy you get with all the software.
I agree, but this is my simplicity. Okay. And as a result, I have files and files and files, boxes of files. And because I never found anything that seemed, I didn't think about a Google Sheet, to be honest, but I did think of a simple CRM. Could you find a simple CRM? I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. But finally, I have one. It's not simple. But what do you guys use now?
Now we use Go High Level.
Yes, that's what I got.
Yep. So
but
that's where we're at.
but I am, like I got it through Mo, and I am just starting to think of all the fields and everything I want. It will be very good when it's finished, but I have a long, long ways to go. But it's kind of interesting to see. You're the first person I've come across, especially as an integrator, who has said, no, no, no CRM, just Google Sheets. I think that, oh yeah, Jada, I agree with you. Everybody has it now these days. But I do think that how you do it, I don't know. Hello, Chris. OneNote is better than paper. Not for me, because when I write, I can write as big as I want. These with these glasses, I take them off and I call him Andrew. I'm sorry, that's funny. Anyhow, so okay, so now you're working on the back end. What about the team management, and how do you get the acquisition going? Talk about what that was.
Yes, we actually met some people out in Power Hour who really enjoyed how much we gave back. And they were like, hey, I need a team. We actually brought someone in on our team. His name's Sean Culver. I don't know if he's in here, but he's been in sub two for a while. And he had told us that he joined a team with a bunch of other newbies when he first joined. And for about 6 to 8 months, they were struggling because none of them had done a deal. So they would make the calls and that's where it would stop. And when we met him at Power, we said, hey, join our team and things will change because we have done deals. He joined our team and in 2 weeks we got him his first deal ever. And from that point on, he was bought in. And so he's been very loyal and committed to us. He actually is still with us today on our team, and he's now looking to be a buyer with us now
Nice.
that he has worked his way up. So it's exciting. But we just established connections in sub two, or mostly at the Power Hour, and we brought them on and said, hey, we'll give you the data if you can call it, and we'll try to close them.
And when people come on, do they come on in a voluntary basis, or do you pay them?
We pay everybody commission based. So
Commission.
when a deal closes, we pay commissions. But what we find is a lot of people that are joining our team, especially now with the MUDs, is a lot of people are joining our team for our knowledge, our collective knowledge that we have. Yes, we still pay them commissions, but every single week we get people on our team that are just like extremely grateful and appreciative that they have the opportunity to be around us because of how much we pour into them. Because we don't just push people, hey, you're cold calling and that's it, and stick to the script. Like, we actually pour sales tips. We will have meetings where we help them out. We explain sub two at a deeper level. We'll break down all sorts of things so that they can keep growing in their real estate journey, because ultimately that's what we all want to do.
Exactly. How did you connect with the MUDs?
So the MUDs actually started coming around the Power Hour randomly, because I know they were doing multifamily.
Yes.
And they were connecting with Andrew and talking about, hey, we should figure out a way to do business together on the single family side. And at the time, it was just Andrew and I with our small little team. And I remember Andrew coming to me one day and he's like, hey, I think we should join teams with the MUDs. They have things that they're doing that we aren't quite implementing, and we have things that we're implementing that they're not. And we can really kind of grow this thing out. And just so happened we had that Pace came out with that 18-minute challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And we all put our names as leaders because we're all regional leaders down here in Houston. And we all got a bunch of people that reached out, and we were like, okay, we have so many people that need help trying to get their first deal. You know what? I think now's the time to combine teams and bring as many people on as possible to try to help get them their deal. And so that's kind of how our relationship has grown with the MUDs. And now we're close friends. We hang out. I mean, we just got back from the Golden Ticket event down in Arizona. We all went down together.
You all went to the same one?
We all went together. We got an Airbnb. We all hung out. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, that's nice. That's very nice. How many people do you guys have on your team now that you're a foursome? How many people altogether do you guys have on, that are underneath, that are together with you?
Yeah. So, and out of those leaders, we have Jada as well. She's not a regional leader. She came with the MUDs.
Nice.
But Jada is one of the leaders on our team. But we have about 36 people on our team, on our wholesale team right now.
Wow.
We have built out an entire system of how we want this business to run. We're not just running just get a wholesale deal here and there. We actually want to scale this into a business. So we have built out closers. We have an internal underwriter, TC. We have follow-up specialists, team leads. We have outreachers. And we just hired a disposition manager as of today who's going to handle that side of the business.
Very nice.
So we have a pretty big team.
That is pretty large. And I imagine they're not all in Dallas. They're not all, they're probably all over the place, right?
Yeah, they're nationwide.
That's a, well, and I reached out to to KJ just the other day, and she responded to, so I'll be following up with her about team building. I'm interested in team building because I'm just one person. One
Hmm.
person. I'm sorry, I'm just one person, and I actually have a couple of JV partners in different areas, and I want to build a team. So that's pretty impressive. 36 people. Congrats.
Thank you.
Now let's get to this real important moment.
Yeah.
You're no longer with a W-2. Talk to us about how that happened and when and how that happened and what the heck were you thinking? Or what the F were you thinking, I
Yeah,
should say.
what the F? That's what I said. I got on the phone. I was like, what the F-y? No.
Exactly.
Um, so it came out of nowhere. Maybe my vibes of pushing it out into the universe brought it sooner than I had thought because I've been talking about wanting to get out of my W-2 for a while. I just didn't know when that time was going to be. And that time was last week, which was February 22nd or 27th. Yeah, the 22nd, February 27th.
Yeah.
And I just got a call from my director stating that the position I had is no longer available and they're doing budget cuts. And I was like, okay. So threw me off guard because I had some plans this year to utilize my loans like I've been talking about with my job, but now everything has changed with that.
Were you were a full-time employee, right?
I was, yes.
So does that mean that you would have got some kind of severance?
I did, yes.
Good, good. And if I recall, I think you said that Alexa, your wife, is a nurse.
She is, yes.
So you guys won't need to fuss over medical. Like if it's not on yours, you could still go on hers.
I can, yes.
Okay, these things are so important. You know, even as a single man or a single woman, they're important in America because of how expensive medical care can be. So I'm sure that that is a huge weight because if you didn't have insurance and you weren't employed, it's not going to be cheap. And it's
Mhm.
probably going to be poor insurance or not very good. And you'd be working so hard just to get to that. Forget about eating, forget about rent or, you know, cost of living. So I'm glad you got some severance, and I'm glad that you have your wife to help, with the um, medical.
Mhm.
And I do think that that would have thrown off a lot of people. Sure, absolutely, because you weren't expecting it. You weren't
Yeah.
expecting it. And what did you think? Did you think I better go get another job?
So no, that was not my first thought process was finding another job.
What was your first thought?
My first thought was, I guess now's the time to make this full time in real estate. I've been wanting to do it. I just have been more on the scared, nervous side because working a job, you have that stability. You have that idea that you are secure. Now that I know I'm not secure because I just disappear in one day, but that was that thought process was, you know what, I could do this full time. And the reason why I had that belief that I could do it full time is one, I've already been doing the wholesaling side of things with the Muds, with Drew, with Jada for a couple months now. And we have been closing deals and we've been using that to go buy assets. And so I'm sitting here thinking, okay, well, I already have something going on. It's a lot easier transition for me because of building out that team. Now my plans and everything changes because now what I make in real estate will be used for paying bills and living versus putting it back into the business to invest more. So that changes.
So when you guys, Andrew, and you and KJ and Joseph figured out your model, whatever you guys got, you could put it in to purchasing assets, or you could take it as income.
Correct. Yes.
Okay, that's helpful. And you decided you're going to need to take it as income.
I probably portion of it. Now my wife does work, so that helps out.
Hmm.
But I will probably have to take a portion of that. And
That's
I'll just
fine.
have to restructure the way I go about buying properties.
Interesting. Interesting. Do you have a whole life insurance?
I do not. Nope.
I'm talking to them tomorrow. And I really love the idea of putting your money into the life insurance policy and then borrowing against, for from yourself. I like borrowing from myself. That sounds good to me.
Mhm.
While it's still, growing through compound interest, I'm like, okay, that's something I want to get into, because it is a way of buying, a way of doing business that I haven't done in the past. And it seems like it would give more. I get more because I get to use my money twice.
Mhm.
But okay, so you're not put off about the fact that some of it might need to be used for some things, and you're going to find other ways to buy. Uh, do not do whole life. Okay, that's a discussion for another time, but I think you're a little late on that one. My kids were trying to get me to do IUL. I was like, oh, no way. Anyhow, but anyhow, so thank you, Emmanuel. It's good to see you here, by the way. So what do you think what do you think will change? Like you're in this now 8 hours a day, right?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Probably
That's
more
my
than 8 hours. Who works 8 hours? I don't work 8 hours. Do you work
I, I work I work way more than that.
Me too. I
If
love
any
it.
Yeah, and I was actually talking to someone in sub 2, his name's Dwayne, the other day, and I was telling him because he asked me what my challenge is, and I said what I will be doing with that 40 hours, that extra 40 hours now. Because before it was just that structured my day. It was okay, I got to put my time in and then whatever else at the end of the day. Now that I have all this extra time, it's like, how can I efficiently manage my time to make the most out of that? And that's something that I am still kind of figuring out because I'm only a week in and I'm actually like at that squirrely mind of do I do this? Do I do this? Do I do this? Because I have all this time. And so I got to really start time blocking differently. And that will actually make me be more efficient when I start time blocking. But what I'm focusing right now in the beginning is networking with as many people as possible
Mhm.
within sub 2, outside of sub 2, go to more meetups. I'm actually going to be speaking to agents out in New Braunfels in about 2 weeks that I normally would not have done because of my job, but now I've been able to set that up thanks to someone in sub 2 who wants me to come speak to their agents. So I'm going to be focusing heavily on networking so I can keep building out more of my brand and building out the direction I want to go, which is doing more fix and flips.
Really? Fix and
Yeah.
flip. Hold on there, bud. You are full of surprises because you're an integrator that went ahead and did all this, cold calling. So you'd think that, you'd be full of complaints, but you haven't been. And now you're leaving, you left your job and you're networking, which again is a little not exactly integrator, but good for you because you're very personable. Can't see why you wouldn't. But if you don't like it, it's harder, and yet you're thinking of going into fix and flips. Where'd that come from?
Yeah. So let me just back up real quick. I love going to networking events. I love talking with people. I love helping people out.
Oh,
So
good.
people always look at me like you're a software engineer. You're not the introverted computer science behind the computer. Like I can do that all day. I can sit behind my computer and not talk to anybody, but then I can turn around and talk to someone all day. And I love that. And so
Good.
I have a mix of both. And a lot of that has to do with pace kind of pushing me out of my shell as well in the last year, which is like, hey, you need to network more. You need to get out there. And I'm like, okay, I need to do this. And I love doing it. But the whole fix and flip, so that was actually an idea that I've wanted to do it. Just my W-2 was getting in the way of that with
Have
that
you ever
extra.
done it before?
So I've done more of like live and flips. So lived in my house and flip it
Got it.
out. But
Yeah.
nothing full fix and flip. I mean, I've been around it with my parents and my sister, but nothing of my own.
What about Andrew? Does he do fix and flips?
He does, yes.
Okay, so then does he have the infrastructure? Like have a couple of people that he can depend on that do the a few plumbers and things like that? Does he have
Yeah,
a team?
yeah, he does. He's done a lot of fix and flips out here in Houston, and I'm gonna be going back to him for some help on some of the fix and flips that I want to take on. But the thing is I want to do it this year. I was like, I told Andrew, I was like, I want to do one or two this year. I just want to learn that process because I'm more system oriented. So once I understand something, then I can start utilizing my skills on how to try to scale that.
Yeah.
And so if it's hard for me, and this is more of a limiting belief on my end, to look at something on how to scale it when I haven't really done it yet. And so if I can go fix and flip something, I can understand the process and I can start building out the back end to where I'm not really heavily involved. And so that's once
Oh,
I lost my job, that's when I realized, okay, now's the time to actually get into fix and flip. So I've been trying to network with more wholesalers that do cash out here in Houston, trying to meet more people that can bring me more deals to look at to fix and flip, and then get going with that as my source of income to replace my W-2.
okay. That makes good sense. But out of curiosity, with 36 people on a team for wholesaling, wouldn't you be able to pick some up from that?
So everything we do on our team right now is all creative financing. It's
Hmm.
all subject to properties. So
And you
they have low or no equity, not the greatest for
got it.
fix and flips.
I understand. So you're out there looking for things that are not so cool, and you're going to be scrappy to get them, moving the
Ba-
way that you would like.
Basically going back to my childhood of going into a smelly, distressed home and making it look pretty.
Oh, that is so funny. That's so. Oh my gosh. Oh, excuse me.
Bless you.
That's so funny. Well, I think that is pretty cool. Pretty cool, to say the least. How's Alexa's taking it, or Alexa taking it? That you're going to go full time, or is she saying maybe you should look for another W-2?
She's actually very supportive. She's my biggest support system in this. I've actually, her smile on her face when I told her that I got laid off was way bigger than I was expecting.
Mm.
And big reason for that is she loves to travel. So she does a lot of travel influencing. So if anybody's had the chance to see her page, like she does a lot of good editing and good work from our trips that we've traveled. And so when she heard that, she was like, "Wait, so you don't have to worry about PTO now? Does that mean we can travel some more?" And I was like, "Well, I got to still make money." But she has been extremely supportive with it. And I'll tell you, the biggest reason why she is so supportive of it is because last year when I joined Sub 2, it was scary because of, how much it costs to get in. And I said, I'm going to prove to you that joining this is going to help us. Just believe and trust in me. And so within a year of being in Sub 2, Andrew and I have bought in 4 Sub 2 properties last year, and we've done about 90K in assignments
Oh,
last year.
nice, nice.
So now we are trying to increase that for this year. And if my wife would not have seen that and I did nothing for an entire year, she probably would have had a different she probably would have said something different, which was go get a job when I got laid off. But because she saw how much I've done, she's like, you got this. Now you have nothing holding you back. You have no limits. It's time to go all in. And she knows that I can do that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Melissa says that is awesome, and to always remember that day. And I have an idea you will. I have an idea you will. These moments when, normally we're supposed to shrink or feel bad because we were let go, um, or fired or whatever happens, right? So it's interesting that you can take that moment and then say, this is the opportune moment to go full force and to push yourself. Even if you do struggle a little bit with time blocking, you'll get it after a little while. It'll work. But, to put more pressure on yourself because you have more freedom. So you want to enjoy it more. That's exactly what I have found, because I do get people sometimes saying, why are you doing this? I mean, not talking about the podcast, but why am I in sub 2 working in real estate? Why not just retire? Because I can. I mean, I was retired. And it's exactly that. It's kind of the responsibility of having all this freedom makes me want to do more and more and more. And sometimes it gets a little hairy. It gets a little bit difficult, and I think Melissa would know what I'm talking about there. But, there are moments, but it's like when you push through them, you're in a much better place. And I'm just like, how lucky am I? How freaking lucky am I? And then on top of it, I have the podcast and I get to, connect with people like you and to help you in any way I can. So, yeah, pressure is a privilege. That's what Kimberly said, I think the other day, right, Monica? Was it her that said that? And I thought pressure is a privilege. Yeah. It's like saying, without stress, you're not alive. So having stress in your life is life. So yeah, she says it was. I thought that was a very good quote that she had stated. I saw that interview with Kimberly and I was impressed. So tell us now, Bradley, you knew you were coming on here and I said, anything I can do, I want to. Obviously, I'd love to do a deal with you and Andrew and with the Muds. Business is business, but I wasn't calling you for business. I was calling to see how I could help you. So tell all of us and everyone who's out there, how can people help you? What could they do if they're like, man, I can barely wait for this guy, to do even more. What do you need? What would you like? What is it that we could assist with?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you have any cash deals in Houston that are good to fix and flip, we could start there. So
Okay.
if anybody, as I keep growing that side of the business, I will always need more properties to fix. As far as on the buying side, Andrew and I, we're opening up the door to more partners. So if anybody, let's say you have a self-directed IRA or you have funds that you're just like, I have no idea where to put it, but I want to put it into an asset, we can definitely help you with that. We closed on a deal in December where we brought a private money partner in on that deal. And now they get to own an asset with us and they funded it through their self-directed IRA, which is amazing. If you don't know about that, look into that, because I'm actually in the process of converting all my retirement now into a self-directed IRA. So
Nice.
but that's a big way. And the good thing with us is, we're very conservative with the way we buy. We make sure all the numbers make sense, and we don't want to scale too fast on the buying side because we don't want to over leverage ourselves. But we have a very collective knowledge between Andrew and I that's so powerful with managing assets. Between me and him, we have about 32 assets. I have seven. And he has about 22, 23 on his own. So we're a little bit further in our real estate journey as far as buying goes. And then I'm always open to just networking, connecting with people. So Like if you're new, you need help. I love giving back. I love helping people out. And I'd love to do more deals. And then if it's on the wholesaling side with the muds and Jada, if people need help moving deals or finding buyers, that's like kind of our specialty right now. We're really good at finding buyers for deals, and that can be cash or creative. So if you're listening to this and you're like, I got a deal and I just cannot find a buyer for it because I haven't built that side of the business yet, definitely come to us because we can help you.
Nice, nice. Okay, so you can, what you have to offer is buyers. Like you can help people to find buyers for sure. You would like or welcome PMPs and PMLs to help with the funding and also for them to get some equity depending on what they want to do. All
Mm-hmm.
right. And how can people reach you?
Yeah, so I think people can see it on the screen, but the best way to get in contact with me is through Instagram. So follow me on sub2lew, and that's Lew. If you have any questions or anything, you can reach me on there. I'm pretty fast at responding. I get that with my team I'm on. They they always ask me, how do you respond so fast? I was like, well, when you work at home and you're on your computer, you have everything available really quickly, so I can just respond. So, but Instagram's the best way to reach me.
Okay. Okay, that sounds good. I like the fact that you're getting out into physical meets too. That's good. We've got a couple of questions here. I'm not sure what does. Oh no, that's not a question. Sorry, JKJ. You know, it's funny. I go to click something and someone else writes something and bing, and I click on the wrong thing. Melissa wants to say, in Florida, what's in Florida, and what's in San Antonio? Okay, why I don't understand these questions, but I must have missed something.
If if you need help with buyers in Florida or San Antonio, yes, we can help you out there.
Oh, cool.
If that we can help find buyers nationwide.
Nice, nice.
So that's not an issue if that's what their questions were.
Yeah, more than likely. You're getting to go on that one day with Pace.
I am, yes, I got selected.
I'm very happy for you.
And I will get to meet Donna Bell out there. So it's going to be a lot of fun. They did cancel the day on us, so they haven't decided if it's what day it is, but I am super excited for that. And I will also be at Squad Up. So if you're going to be there, I'd love to connect with anybody who's going out there.
Wonderful. Yeah. I sure hope that I get a day with Pace. That would be very nice. I've got my ticket, but I haven't, there's some things that are questionable. So I'm not 100% if I'll be able to go. So Melissa says, in Florida, do you dispo?
Yes.
You do. Okay. All right. Okay. And we've got a question from Monica. Did you connect with Tonio Alvarez, the racetrack manager out of Houston?
I have not yet. So if you want to have him reach out to me, I'd be more than happy to get on the phone. I put out a post in sub 2 trying to turn my negative into a positive because I'm really looking at this as a complete positive. And I got like 400 people who commented and reached out, just showing their love and support. That just shows you how awesome this sub 2 community is. And there's a lot of people that want to connect with me. So I got to map out my next couple of months of connections, because if I can't do it all up front, or I'll take away all my my time, like we were talking about.
Yes, I understand. And I think that it's very encouraging for everybody in the community when we see someone take these steps. So it's really nice that you were able to make it a positive thing for sure. I was one of those comments, I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing, how I can help, but I want to talk to you. And if anything comes out of this, then, that is fantastic. Minimally, it's a good thing because, hi, Samantha, because it'll be on the internet. People that are not sure will like, oh, well, this dude did it. And they may reach out to you, that sort of thing. It helps to see somebody doing it for sure. For sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Anyhow, well, I would like to say thank you very much. I encourage everyone to reach out to Sub2. Lou, as he goes by. And Bradley, at some point, I'm going to have you back, boy, for you to tell us all the things that you've done.
Absolutely. I'm excited for that.
I'm very, very happy for you. Very
Thank
happy
you.
for you.
Thank
And
you.
I thank everyone for coming, and we shall see you next week, everyone. Thank you for being here very, very much.